Greetings everyone. Today we're going to be playing Factorio in this video. Factorio is one of my favorite games. I've played it for over 160 hours, which in the grand scheme of Factorio players is not that much. But on this save file, I have played about 50 of those hours. So today we're going to be doing a tour of my world. So I'm gonna start on the right side of the base. Here's the base from an overview. It's centralized up here, but it's pretty confusing when you first look at it, especially if you don't know Factorio. So I'm gonna try and explain it all to you guys. So here we have our first iron setup. This basically all it does is it takes iron ore, which we get from a mine, which I'll show you later, from this train. The conveyor belts bring it down here. They take coal, which we get from another mine, and then it smelts the iron into iron plates. Now, iron plates are basically like the most basic resource in the game that like you use and things. They're basically used in everything eventually. There are also copper plates, which I have a mine here for, or a smelting array here for. So it takes copper ore, drags it across here, and coal, puts it in these steel furnaces, and puts out copper plates. Now these are just my beginning setups. I have since expanded it greatly with electric furnaces and more steel furnace setups like this over here. As you see, we have all of these belts carrying resources up to these electric furnaces, which don't need coal. And this is not my blueprint. I found this blueprint on the internet. I think this is it. No. Here it is. This is the blueprint. Basically, it takes iron ore, puts it in the furnace, puts out the plate, and then it balances it onto the belts. So at the end you get 2 belts of iron plates. And we have that for copper and iron. We also have steel, which takes iron plates and smelts it again and creates steel. And it's, I believe, 5 iron plates for 1 steel. And it takes a while too. So these are steel is just more expensive iron, basically. And here we have oil. So there are 4 major raw resources, 5 major raw resources. There's coal, iron, copper, uranium, and oil. Oil is in the mid game, and you extract it. It's a liquid actually, so you use pipes instead of conveyors. We use these pump jacks, which then pump it all the way over to our oil setup. But before we get to the oil setup, I'm going to show you where all this copper and iron goes, which it mainly goes into circuits. And circuits are the main bottleneck of your base because you need a lot of them. You need green circuits, which then turn into red circuits, which then turn into blue circuits. So electronic circuits, advanced circuits, processing unit. And here we take copper, turn that into copper wire with an assembling machine, which just turns one thing into another thing, kind of like a furnace. And then we put that with iron plates into another assembling machine, which makes an electronic circuit. which then, and these are underground belts, by the way. So the electronic circuits are like the bread and butter, or I guess it's more like the sandwich, I guess. Copper is the lettuce or the ham, and the iron is the bread, and then you make the sandwich, and that's the electronic circuits. So that is used in basically every more complicated thing you had to build in the game. But those eventually turn into red circuits, which I will show you over here. I have a very large red circuit production because they're slower to make than green circuits. You only need a couple inserters for green circuits, but you need a lot of resources to go into them. So here is making red circuits, which are currently full, which is a good thing because we're low on green circuits. But these take plastic. They take copper wire, electronic circuits, and plastic, and that's where oil comes in. So I will now show you the oil setup. So it's very rudimentary, except on here. This I use the blueprint from Nilos. I use a lot of his blueprints. They're really good. Basically, it's the advanced oil refining. So it takes in oil, turns it into heavy oil, light oil, and petroleum. Most of the time petroleum is what you want, but heavy oil and light oil are also used. So heavy oil gets turned into lubricant, which is used for tier 3 belts, blue belts, and electric engines. Some of the heavy oil is turned into light oil, and then the light oil is turned into either rocket fuel or petroleum. Where is that happening? Okay. And these are biters. Sorry to get sidetracked, but these are biters. They're basically enemies that attack your base throughout the game. When you produce pollution, and that triggers biters attacks. So yeah, we make lots of petroleum gas, which is then used over here in making plastic. So it takes coal and petroleum, makes plastic. It's also used for sulfur to make sulfur, what's it called? Sulfuric acid with iron plates and water, which is then needed for batteries, which you need for turrets, some other things. Sulfuric acid is also needed to mine uranium, which I will show you later. So yeah, but basically the most important thing you get from oil is plastic. And the plastic goes up to here, which is the main part of the base, the main bus. Basically, the main bus is like a road that runs to your base of belts that just has the resources you need on it. So you can split off from it, and you'll easily be able to craft what you need. So after we get red circuits, which take plastic, and sulfuric acid too comes up here, we make processing units, or blue circuits, which are then used in modules, which you can use to speed up buildings or make them more productive or make them more efficient. Right here. I only have tier 2 modules right now because tier 3 ones are really expensive, and I don't know if I'm ready. My base is ready to set those up yet. But we are making those, then take modules and processing units and turn into radio control units, which is needed to complete the last objective of the game, which is to launch a rocket. Now, the other stuff you need to launch a rocket, which is up here, the rocket silo, is rocket fuel and low density structure, which is right here. We're making low density structure right here. So it's a pretty simple recipe. It takes plastic, steel, and copper, but it takes a lot of all of those things, and it's pretty slow at making it. This looks fast because I have a bunch of modules and a tier 3 assembling machine, but it's actually a 20-second crafting time, which is pretty long for something you need a lot of. Here we have, and then we also need rocket fuel, which we are making. Here, I can just actually look at the map. Way down here. So this takes light oil and solid fuel, which you take light oil or petroleum and put it through in a chemical plant, which is kind of like an assembling machine, but it takes in liquid. And it turns it into solid fuel, which you then mix with light oil in an assembling machine to make rocket fuel. So what's the purpose of launching a rocket after you beat the game? Well, it's to get science and get these researches. So basically, science are these little flasks with different colors that you put in a lab, and that makes a technology or unlocks something. And for most of the game, you're just unlocking new stuff. Like, you only start with so much, and you gotta unlock most of this. But after, you just are basically upgrading your defenses or your robot speed or mining productivity. So, and you're basically just playing the game for fun at that point, not really to beat it, which is what I am doing right now. So these are the labs that take the science. And there's red science, which is the first science. Green science, second science. Blue science is the third science. Military science is kind of in there, wherever you want it. And then yellow and purple are the fourth and fifth sciences. Depending on what order you get them in. You can get them in any order. The yellow and purple science. But red science is pretty simple. And also there's white science, which comes from the rocket. So that's why you want to watch it. But red science is pretty simple. You need copper and gears. And then green science, or logistics science, is transport button and inserter, right here. Military science is used for fighting off biters, like researching technologies related to that. It takes red ammo, grenades, and walls. And then blue science takes sulfur, advanced circuits, and engine units, which are right here. So, engine units, sulfur we talked about before, it's made with oil. Engine units are made right here. They take steel, gears, and pipes. Put all that together, you get an engine unit. And so that's how you make blue science. Purple science, you need rails, electric furnaces, and productivity modules. So the electric furnaces are being made right here. It takes stone brick, advanced circuits, steel plate. Productivity modules we talked about before. It just takes circuits to make. And rails, that takes stone, which is another resource in the game that you don't use very often, but it's still important for some things like rails, which is all the way down here, right here. It takes stone and iron sticks, and you make iron sticks, and also steel. Take iron sticks, you take iron plates, put it through an assembling machine, gets you iron sticks. So yellow science is probably what most people consider the hardest science to get besides white science. It takes processing units, flying robot flames, and row density structure. So we talked about processing units and density structure, but flying robot flames are right over here. They take a lot of stuff: batteries, steel plates, electric engines, electronic circuits. And you mainly use these for robots, which are right here, which can help you build things. So you can, for example, if I want to copy this belt and place it robots will now come, see right here, and they'll put it down for me. So robots are kind of an end game thing, mid to end game thing, but they are very, very helpful. But they're also pretty expensive and hard to set up. Well, not really hard to set up, just time consuming. They live in these roboports, which form a network, kind of like the power network. So yeah, that's all the science. Now, let's talk about power, which I get 99% of my power from nuclear, which in the beginning you either use solar or coal, and that quickly phases itself out. But down here we have our 2 nuclear power plants, which take these uranium fuel cells, puts it through the nuclear reactor. The heat from the reactors then go... This is also, I think, a Nilaus design. I'm not sure. It's a blueprint, so I didn't make this, but it's a blueprint. The heat goes into these heat exchangers, which take water, turn it into steam, and the steam goes into the steam turbines, which produce power. So I have 2 of them, which makes 933 megawatts, so almost a gigawatt of power. Over here is where we process the uranium. So it comes in from... Oh, we're full on 235 right now. That is a problem. I'm gonna quickly fix that. So it takes the uranium and then it puts it through a centrifuge, and 0.7% of the time you get 235, which is what you want, and 99.3% of the time you get 238, which is used for a couple things, but not really what you want. So the 235 is put in here to make 10 uranium fuel cells, which are going to start in here, and we have a lot of them. And then the 238 is used for uranium ammo, which I am making, I believe, up here, which is just better red ammo. It's used for uranium cannon shells. And I think that's it. And then, but it's actually, well, the only other thing it's used for is Covarex enrichment, which takes a bunch of, uses a centrifuge, takes a bunch of 235, a little bit of 238, and makes one more 235. So that's what it mainly does. It also takes a really long time. So, but if you speed it up like I have, you can process a bunch of it. And this is like the most rare resource in the game, and I have 2 chests full of it, so that's cool. Now I'm gonna actually take some to start making a nuke, because we're gonna nuke something at the end of this video. Which I need rocket control units for. I'm gonna quickly grab those. Rocket control units are over here. So yeah, my base is pretty messy, so I get kind of stopped a lot. There you go. It takes a whole 50 seconds to craft. Let's see. What is slowing this down? Oh, we missed the rocket launch. That sucks. But whatever. So the last thing I'm gonna show you is the mines that I have. Which I'm going to call my Spidertron, which is a vehicle you can make at the very end of the game. Actually, you know what, I'm not going to. Just stay where you are. Actually, just come here. Okay. I'll show you. Actually, I do want to show you that. So I'm gonna bring him with us. But yeah, the train networks, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You have rails, trains, that take it from where it needs to go. Oh, down here, I'll show you this. This is coal liquefaction. So you take coal, you take water, turn the water into steam. Take heavy oil, and you make more heavy oil. Light oil and more petroleum gas, which you can then use. You can kind of put the heavy oil back into the system. Where are we being attacked? Oh, over here. Okay. We're gonna deal with this. That sound, the ping noise, is the bane of every Factorio player. Okay, we didn't really fix it, but the robots automatically fix this stuff, so I don't really have to worry about it. But yeah, that's just annoying whenever that happens. We're gonna go down here to some example mines, and then I can just go over the map to show you the rest. So yeah, this is a train stop with some chests, and so the iron is mined from here, put into chests, and then loaded into the train. And then the train takes it, and these signals tell the train where to go and if there's another train in the way and stuff like that. Here's the Spidertron. So this is missile launchers, and it can walk over things, which is pretty nice. And yeah, so that was an iron mine. This is a copper mine. And uranium mine looks a little different. That's down here. It takes sulfuric acid and puts it into the miner so it can mine the uranium. So you have to do a little more logistics and setup to mine uranium. Here we have coal. Coal mine I can't see. Here's an example of a coal mine. I mean, they all kind of look the same. More oil. This is a really big copper and iron mine. Really big ones over here too. Of course, I didn't put radar down, so we can't see them. But yeah. So now, let's go nuke some biters. Over here. So, also, this Spidertron can take, like, equipment. So this one is decked out with some laser defense, energy shields, and exoskeleton, which makes it last faster, and power for those things. Personally, I have a roboport, a bunch of exoskeletons, some energy shields, personal laser defense, a bunch of power. But yeah. Alright. So I'll just show you how the Spidertron works without a nuke. So you can see it fires pretty fast. And kills the biters quickly. So, most of the time this is just good enough for taking out nests. But yeah, if you have a bigger nest, which I'm sure we'll find soon, I can actually Oh, those are pretty small. See, this guy, the Spidertron, just walks through this forest like it's nothing. Normally, forests are extremely difficult to get through, unless you have like a tank. But with a car, you run into all the trees. It's really annoying, but Spidertron, I mean, it's really expensive and late game, but it's really, really nice. Alright, I'm gonna equip the nuke. Here we go, this is a pretty big nest. Alright, ready? 3. Oh, actually, I'm gonna get closer. 3, 2, 1. Boom. It's gone. Deflated. So yeah, it leaves a big old crater in the ground. But yeah, that's the Factorio experience. And what my base looks like. So, thank you guys for watching. And see you later.